Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome back to McElroy's Motors, the home of the weird, the boring, the projects, and the adventures. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am making this video here today because I have now officially owned Sadie, my beloved 1997 Saturn SL1, for 9 whole months now, which is longer than any other car I have owned to date. And this car, during that time, has been covering thousands of miles, and it's been changing my mind completely about the Saturn brand, because I remember when I first got this car, I thought it was cheap, I thought it was a bit flimsy, and above all else, I did not really like it all that much. I just needed something to get me to and from places. So that's why I bought this car, because it had low mileage, and it's just been great to me ever since. And during that 9 months of ownership, this car has never had a check engine light on, nor has it ever left me stranded during that time, which is quite amazing to think about, because this car is almost 30 years old. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys what I had to do to keep this car on the road, what would I do to recommend one of these cars, as well as to tell you the overall history of this car and my ownership, as well as future plans that I have with this car as well. So join me, as it's now time to cue the music. If you guys recall to the last video update I did about this car, when the car still had its 5-spoke hubcaps on it, you guys will remember that I put 7,500 miles on this car between October and March. And now here we are in July, and yet here I am having an additional 10,000 miles since I made that video update. And this car has been fantastic. I cannot recommend these cars enough, which is something I thought I would never say when I was first buying this car back in October. This car has been everywhere. It's been to Indiana 3 times, it's been to Kentucky twice, it's been to West Virginia, it's been to Virginia 3 times, it's been to Pennsylvania more often than I could think, and better still, it just keeps going. I drove this car all the way through Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and through the small portion of Virginia just to go to the International Spy Museum's Parade of Trabants for 2024. So I have zero doubts in my mind that this car will be so ready for the 2,500 mile road trip that my 3 friends and I are planning for this fall. And yeah, it may not be the most comfortable, yeah, it may not be the most stylish, and yeah, it definitely has not the most technology, but I can be assured that it'll get us there. The question now is, how well will it hold up versus putting 200,500 miles on this car in a month versus 2,500, maybe more miles in a week? That is a question that I am yet to decipher on that. Now, coming underneath the hood of my Saturn, you can see its box standard 1.9 liter single overhead cam 4-cylinder engine that has 8 valves and produces an even 100 horsepower. Now, if I were to buy another one of these, I would go for the SL2, which has dual overhead camshafts and 16 valves and about 124 horsepower. But for me, just being a single guy, honestly, this engine is perfectly adequate. It's not the quickest, it's not the most refined, but it gets the job done just fine. In fact, the only thing I've really done to this car mechanically was change the alternator, change the coolant temperature sensor, and change the oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. I also changed the coolant on it recently, and that did give me a bit of a scare, because when I did change the coolant on it, not only did it make a huge mess, but also it caused the low coolant warning light to come on. Thank God all I had to do was just top it off, and everything was back to normal again, and that warning light has not been on since. And what's even more amazing is these Saturns are known for burning oil, and this Saturn has not burned any oil during my entire time covering 17,000 miles in 9 months' time. One thing I love about this little plastic runabout is just how cheap parts are these days. When I got the coolant temperature sensor, that cost me 20 bucks. All 4 tires cost me less than 300 out the door, and all in all, keeping this thing on the road is a lot cheaper than people might think. I will be honest with you guys, I am very much nervous about taking this 28-year-old car on a 2,500, maybe more mile road trip this fall, because mainly I'll be going through places that I've never been to before, such as Alabama. But at the same time, I have no doubts in my mind that this car will make it. And there's also a benefit too about driving an old car like this. If I were to get a phone call while I'm gone and away, saying that they're calling about my car's manufacturer suggested extended warranty program, I can bet it's a scam because Saturn has not existed for so long. But that being said though, this car only has 71,000 miles on it, which is frankly astonishing for a car of this age. But even so, I have seen Saturns online that have 250, 300, or even 400,000 miles, and yet they're still running strong. So I have zero doubts in my mind that this car will make it there and back just fine. I have received a couple of emails asking if I would be willing to sell this little car. And the answer to that is no. I want to keep this car on the road as much as I can because this car has just been so good to me. No point of trying to sell it and then take the gamble of buying another used car because you never know what you're going to get yourself into. But what is weird is every time I take this car to go get its oil changed at Valvoline, especially when I don't have time to do it myself, is every time I take it to Valvoline, they always tell me that I need to change my transmission fluid. They say it has some metal flakes in it and is showing signs of being burnt. I would check it every single time before I even take it to go get its oil changed, and the transmission fluid seems fine. I don't see any metal flakes, no signs of being burnt, so I'm wondering if it really does need to be changed, or they're just trying to upsell me. Stepping in my Saturn, and you can see it is just as basic as it ever has been. No CD, no cassette in here. But I do want to upgrade the radio at some point, but I'm waiting until we come back from our road trip, mainly because I do not want any unwanted electrical gremlins, nor risk the overall legendary reliability that this car has given me during the time I've owned it. But let me tell you, ever since I put the center console in, this car has definitely been a lot more relaxing to drive. But there's a downside to that as well, because now the rear cup holders are taken up, and the only cup holders I have are the ones in the front. And when you put the car in park or in drive, you cannot really put huge cups in here anymore like you used to. But at the same time, I am planning on putting some aftermarket cup holders in the back seat, so therefore when I take the road trip, they're not just having bottles roll around everywhere and risk spillage, because that is something I definitely don't want to happen in this car at all. I still have the USB power jack that plugs it here into the cigarette lighter. It only has 2 USB sockets, so when we do go on this road trip in November, I am definitely going to get a USB charger that has more sockets, so therefore I can hook up a GPS as well as have more availability to charge more devices. It is kind of a pain in the ass when you have just 2 chargers and more than 2 passengers. They always have to fight over it. But as you can see, there are no cracks in the dashboard at all of my Saturn, which has come as a surprise, mainly because I don't have a garage to store this thing, which is a bit of a downgrade. But honestly, given the fact that this dashboard has held up as well as it has, I am just in complete and utter awe that it has as well. Compare this to the Dodge Ram of the era, and this dashboard would easily be cracking already. Not because of age, but because of being exposed to the sun for so long. It is amazing how well this dashboard has held up. And even though it's not the best quality, it's definitely not the worst. But what makes this car feel cheap is the fact that this part of the bezel is loose, and it could be said for the other side. But that's how these cars were. But one thing is definitely for certain for sure. When I do take this 2,500 mile road trip, I did tell my 3 friends to not be afraid to pack extra pillows as well as blankets in the car, because even though the heater works great in this car, the seats themselves definitely feel very cheap, and it doesn't help the fact that you cannot adjust the headrest either. It's all one solid piece. I was thinking about putting seat covers in this car, but knowing the fact of the headrest situation, it might be easier said than done, unless I can find seat covers that actually fit this car. But at the same time, they're decent enough for a short journey, but long journeys can be a little bit of a backache. This car also is not the quietest car on the road, but at the same time, I was not expecting a 2,300 pound plastic bodied car to be the quietest thing in the world, because this thing is about as far from a Rolls Royce or even a Mercedes Benz as you're going to get. Even a Chevrolet Cavalier seems like it's better build quality, which I can guarantee you it's not. This is a much better car than that, but at the same time, it is a cheap economy car and nothing else. But at the same time, it just has so much more character to the point where you can forgive its flaws, because this is overall a very fantastic little car. And if you are wanting one of these things, go get one, because they are cheap, plentiful, and above all else, they're just easy to live with. But there's one reason why I do want to keep this car as long as I can, mainly because it is just the right size. I'm only 26 years old, I have no wife, I have no children, and as such this car is just perfect for my needs. I don't need to haul my grandmother's wheelchair around anymore, I can just do my own thing, which is always a big plus. Plus with this car being as small as it is, with the big huge greenhouse in terms of glass that it has, it makes it perfect for driving around busy cities, especially when I drive down to Washington DC, to which I do every year. This car is perfect for driving around that city because you don't have to worry about emissions, and I can see exactly where the car is despite being very low to the ground. It is just the perfect city car. So ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this brief update of owning my 1997 Saturn SL1 for 9 whole months and covering 17,000 miles during that time. I'm sorry this really wasn't much of an update, but honestly, it just proves that this car has been as reliable as it has been. The smiles keep climbing, as well as the mileage keep turning. So I'm very happy that this car has been officially sorted, because I think this car is genuinely ready for this 2,500 mile road trip that we have planned for this fall, because this car has just been so great. Anyways, viewers, if you like this video, feel free to like, share, comment, as well as subscribe for more content from McElroy's Motors, and I'll have more videos, adventures, and other stuff coming along soon.